Alright, let's dive into something that's been making waves in the cybersecurity world lately, a new attack called interrupt injection that's giving Intel and AMD CPUs a serious headache. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me hit you with a quick hook. Imagine a scenario where a seemingly harmless program running on your computer could secretly bypass some of the most advanced defenses built into modern processors. Sounds like something out of a spy movie, right? Well, it's real, and it's happening right now. So, what's the deal? Researchers from MIT CSAIL, Daniel Trujillo and Mingjia Yan, discovered a way to exploit a tiny gap in how processors handle interrupts. Here's the kicker, this gap exists between the moment a processor sanitizes its branch predictor, a critical component for optimizing performance, and when the kernel actually uses it. By timing a hardware interrupt just right, an attacker can slip in and repoison the predictor, effectively bypassing Spectre v2 defenses. Now, let me pause here because this is where things get really interesting. Spectre v2, for those who might not remember, is a class of vulnerabilities that exploit speculative execution in CPUs. Defenses against it, like AMD's SAFE-RET and Intel's EIBRS, were supposed to be rock solid. But what Trujillo and Yen showed is that these defenses make a critical assumption: nothing malicious happens in the tiny window between sanitization and use. And that's exactly where interrupt injection strikes. What makes this really fascinating is how precise the attack needs to be. On an AMD Zen 2 machine, the window of opportunity is just 2 instructions, 6 bytes. That's it. To pull this off, the researchers had to evict those bytes from the cache using a sibling hyperthread, slow them down, and then time the interrupt with nanosecond precision. It's like threading a needle while riding a roller coaster, except the stakes are way higher. Here's where it gets even more concerning: the attack doesn't require any special privileges. All it needs is local code execution, which means it's a real threat on shared systems. In their tests, the researchers were able to leak arbitrary kernel memory at 5.47 bytes per second with 91.97% accuracy. To put that in perspective, they managed to locate and read the /etc/shadow file, which stores password hashes, in 5 out of 10 attempts. That's not just impressive, it's alarming. Now, let's talk about the response from AMD and Intel. AMD has acknowledged the issue and plans to release a kernel patch, which apparently has already shipped. But here's the catch: there's no clear way for administrators to verify if their systems are patched. No version numbers, no commit IDs, no CVE. It's like being told a fix is coming but not knowing if it's actually arrived. Intel, on the other hand, doesn't seem to think a mitigation is necessary, claiming the attack is covered by existing guidance. Personally, I think that's a bit of a gamble, especially since their guidance doesn't even mention interrupts. This raises a deeper question: how well do we really understand the defenses we're relying on? Trujillo and Yen call this class of vulnerabilities TONTU, time of neutralization to time of use, a play on the classic TOC2, time of check to time of use, race conditions. It's a clever analogy, but it also highlights a broader issue. Modern CPU defenses are built on assumptions that attackers are constantly finding ways to break. One thing that immediately stands out is how this attack leverages interrupts, something that's been part of computing forever. Interrupts are supposed to be harmless, just a way for hardware to signal the CPU. But here, they're being weaponized to disrupt defenses at a critical moment. It's like discovering your trusty Swiss Army knife has a hidden blade you never knew about. What this really suggests is that we might need to rethink how we design CPU defenses. The researchers propose adding a second neutralization step during interrupt handling, but that comes with a performance cost. And let's be real, in the world of tech, performance is king. So, it's a delicate balance between security and speed, one that we're still trying to figure out. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about interrupt injection. It's part of a bigger trend in cybersecurity where attackers are constantly finding new ways to exploit the very mechanisms that are supposed to protect us. Spectre, Meltdown, now this, it's like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. And while researchers like Trujillo and Yen are doing incredible work uncovering these flaws, it's up to the industry to keep up. So, what's the takeaway here? Personally, I think this is a wake-up call. We can't just patch our way out of these problems. We need to fundamentally rethink how we design processors and the defenses that protect them. Because if we don't, we're just setting ourselves up for the next big exploit. What do you think? Is interrupt injection a game changer, or just another bump in the road? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of tech and cybersecurity. Until next time, stay curious, and maybe keep an eye on those interrupts.